All right. Hey, guys.
Hello.
Hey, Josh. Hey.
Yeah!
Hello.
Hey guys.
Work. How's it going?
Doing great. Thank you guys very much for taking the time to do this interview.
Not a problem.
Yeah, not a problem at all.
Absolutely, man.
Well, awesome. Well, I just gotta say, first and foremost, I got turned on to you guys roughly about 3 to 4 weeks ago with the debut album Air, which is available now. And I just gotta say, it is easily one of the best albums of 2016.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Where did you hear of it?
I actually got recommended to it through your guys' Bandcamp from a couple different people on my Facebook, and says they're letting me know it's like, well, if you like Devin Townsend, we know you like Death Heaven, and we know you like these kind of bands, so why don't you check out Astronoid? And I was like, okay, well, I'll check it out. I'm always up for checking out new music, and just 30 seconds into the first track, I was already spellbound, and I listened to the whole thing, got the album, and I've just been enjoying it ever since.
Awesome. That's great.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I just love your guys' take on music as well, because it sounds very fresh and unique. Was this something that you guys were always striving to do, or did it just come as a natural progression for you guys?
I think what ended up happening was we've all been in bands, we've all played in genres that have been pretty locked down by, just things that we're supposed to do, and we're all kind of sick of it, and with Astronoid it was just like, we started it for fun, and it's still fun, and we're writing music that like we want to do, not with any expectations of anybody. So it just kind of happened. Like Dan and I were working on it for fun for Project Ghoul, and it just like, here we are now, putting out an album on Blood Music, and people are really feeling refreshed by it, and that's what we felt like when we were writing it. It was a lot of fun, and it felt different, and we just went with our gut, no matter what we thought people might think of it.
And that's the most important thing to me when it comes to being in a band, is not doing what you think is going to sell, and not doing what you think is going to make you the most fans, but making the music that you want to make. And if other people are out there wanting to hear that style of music, they will find out about you, and they will become fans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I've seen a couple things of like, they're just doing it to make money and all this stuff, and I couldn't be further from the truth, because I don't think we'd be taking this risk if we wanted to make money, because we're certainly not making any money.
No, we definitely knew it was a risk, like, going into it,
Yeah, I mean, once I hear blast beats on Top 40 radio, then you can say that a band is trying to do it for the money. Until then, you can't really say that.
Right, yeah. And
I actually hit a gravity blast today.
Exactly.
Yeah,
what was
new
it?
Blink-182 song.
Really?
I noticed that.
Yeah, it's got a gravity blast, like, in the pre-chorus, going into the chorus.
I'm in.
Oh,
Dude, that's funny.
that.
But it's like this music literally just came out of our love for so many different styles, and we're not trying to be a metal band, we're not trying to be a pop band. It's just sort of like, we listen to a lot of black metal, so like, why can't we have blast beat singing? It's like, we love all that stuff, and like, no reason, at least to us, why they can't mash up.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, there's so much territory that can be explored with black metal, and one of those that people always seem to not even attempt to go for is to add clean vocals. I mean, sometimes they'll add them as like backup vocals or through spoken word passages, but nothing like you guys are doing, where it is all clean vocals, and it gives it such a fresh new approach to it.
Yeah, it seems, especially from like what I've been listening to, it's kind of going the opposite of what we are, and like bands like Death Heaven, and even I'm trying to think of some other. Death Heaven's obviously like the biggest one out there, but they're like taking that lighter sound and bringing it heavier. It seems like that's the direction we're going in, or they're going in, rather than us taking the lighter stuff and making it heavier. So it's like, I think we're starting from more of a Mew M83 standpoint, and then bringing blast beats into that, rather than starting at the black metal aspect and then bringing pop to that. So I think our basis is like, the clean vocals are Astronoid, like you said. So I realized this, and Dan and I and everyone in the band, we realized this after Stargazer. It's like, this is what defines us, and we sort of have a lot of room to play around with the music underneath, as long as the vocals kind of maintain that core aspect. So that's kind of where we went with Air, on how to expand after the two.
And yeah, that definitely makes sense, because listening back to those EPs and seeing the progression that you guys have made through into Air is just, it's very incredible to see that happen in such a short amount of time relatively as well.
Yeah, you know, we started doing it like during the process of putting out Stargazer. We all started getting demos together before Stargazer was even out. So it's like we're always writing music, we're always working, and we're always listening. It really, you know, even with Dan's writing, you know, he's been writing a lot for the band too, and helping me with, you know, even though I wrote some of the core songs, helped me a lot within those songs. And we've just both been building so much on the band, and when Matt came in, we started to, you know, everyone kind of, as they trickled in, they started to put in their input.
So was there...
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I mean, obviously, it was primarily just Brett writing things and you know, us moving on with that, but everybody's been bringing their own things to the table now, and it's been cool seeing everybody's take on Astronoid, you know?
So what has been, like, the general consensus of Air? I'm assuming, like me, a lot of people have just discovered you guys within the past few weeks through all the promotion that you guys have done via social media and all the great metal sites also covering you guys as well. What has been the general reaction to you guys?
It seems like the reaction has been, it's been unbelievable. Like, we've had a couple reviews, like 2 or 3 reviews that called it a masterpiece. You know, to me, it's not a masterpiece. It's like I can always do better, and I'm always trying to write to my best ability, and same with all of us in the band. But it's like I didn't think it was. I thought it was going to be extremely polar with the reviews, but it seems like the people who don't like it are just kind of, they understand it's not for them, which I wasn't ready for. I was more ready for the biggest backlash of like anything I've ever released. So it's been really, really great. No one, you know, there's always constructive criticism, which is great, but the consensus is like, this is really refreshing and it's really nice here.
Well, I'm glad to hear that from other places as well, because I know to me, well, like you just said, it was not a masterpiece, but when it comes to like the first full length, and of course now being signed to Blood Music, it is an absolutely incredible debut on a bigger label like Blood Music, and I can definitely see the potential of the band just getting bigger and stronger from here if you're already putting out this kind of content on your debut album.
Yeah, thank you. You know, I don't really know where we're going next, and now I've at least set the bar for myself of like where we need to be. And, you know, now people have, like, you know, they're gaining some fans, and we have people to impress down the road now. So it's like we set the standard for ourselves. And my standard for myself is pretty high, as Dan may know. It wouldn't even be done if Dan weren't a part of the band. I'd probably still be mixing it.
Yeah, no, you would definitely still be mixing. Brett is definitely a perfectionist in all ways. I remember we were, like, working on the final mixes, and he would, like, keep sending me, like, a new version, like, every hour, and, like, I was trying to master it. It was crazy, but it turned out okay.
Yeah, I retracked the guitars. Yeah. I retracked all the guitars, like, a month before I put out the album.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was really interesting process.
Yeah, it was, the recording of this album was the best, like, weirdest experience over the past, what has it been, 3 years maybe?
Yeah, 3 years. Very spread out and disjunct, but, like, in a very interesting way. Very interesting.
So how did the songs translate into a live setting?
We learned that, so the way that we worked for the album is I worked on the demos, and then we kind of put them together in like Pro Tools, and everyone came over, and we were just kind of piecing the record together in the box, basically, in Pro Tools. And then we would bring those songs, and we would all just learn random parts and play them. And it was kind of a mess, but we weren't playing the songs live. Basically, while we recorded the album, we didn't play live. So we haven't played a show in, I don't think, a year.
Yeah, it's been a year.
Yeah, we've been primarily just working on the record.
Right.
And after that, so now we finally finished the record is out, and now it's like, all right, we have to perfectly play this live. So what we're doing now is I actually had to sit down in the program, and basically I felt like a school teacher giving out parts to all the kids in the band. And it felt like that to me too, because I had to like give myself parts that would translate easier for me to play and sing. And what ended up happening is we have all 3 of us on guitar, we're all playing something completely different the whole time, which is crazy and awesome because none of us are doubling and it never gets muddy. And we practiced for the first time all these songs and recording the album. It was like a couple weeks ago, and it sounded awesome, and it's really translating well.
I'm glad to hear that, because when I listen to it, it's like sometimes hearing stuff like this, I mean, depending on like the venue that you're playing at or the PA or the sound guy or whatever the case is, sometimes it can come through absolutely crystal clear, and sometimes it just comes out sounding like complete reverb from all the instruments. But as long as you guys are able to get that sound, sound down in the practice studio, and then being able to get it into the live setting, I definitely see these sounds translating very well.
Yeah, we have a lot of work still to do. We're testing the waters. Yeah, go ahead, Dan.
I was going to say, a lot of it is just planning and always having a backup plan for when things could potentially go wrong, and just taking everything into account.
Yeah, we're trying to really get everything down, so if everything goes wrong, it'll not good.
Yeah, that's definitely the way I try to approach it too when I'm playing drums. I try to make sure when I'm doing practice and rehearsal to know when I start and when I stop, and just hope that the rest of the band is able to know the spots where they start and stop as well, because you don't always get the perfect mix from the stage to be able to hear what every single person is doing. So as long as you get it down beforehand, hopefully you can make it to the best sound that you can live.
Right. Matt actually has the biggest change right now. Matt,
yeah,
divulge.
I have never played to a click live before.
And neither have we.
So as a band, we're now all playing with a click directly, and I mean, we've done it in recording, and it's never been a problem for any of us, I think. But now playing live with a click like that, it definitely keeps things more together. And something I've been focusing on is making sure that everyone is really, making eye contact and making sure that everyone is right there with the click where we need to be. But it's definitely helping with keep us, as you're saying, it's definitely helping keep us all in line, starting and stopping at the right place. Like I can honestly say that I've never felt more intimately connected with music that I've been playing as I am now playing with click. And I honestly can say that I've never played in a band that's been as tight trying to play something live, because we're all going with the same thing.
How long did it take you to be able to feel that comfortable with playing to a click live?
About a week ago. Yeah, no, I can honestly say I have mostly drawn off of the direct feeling and where things were going, either with the band, with the crowd, or with the combination of the two. So for me, I really had to relearn how to enjoy playing in a live setting. And
we haven't even done it live. We've only done it. We haven't done it live,
yeah. But still, just that whole thing and that whole different. I'll be honest, it started out where I felt like it was holding me back, but then I'm like, wait, these parts shouldn't be that fast, and we can groove more, and we can really focus. And that, since I've been able to make myself click there, I've seen that I really enjoy it, and it's definitely translating well to the other band.
No, it feels great. Everybody being so tight and locked in with each other.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It's also nice to not feel like I'm dead at the end of the set.
No, I definitely know how that goes as a drummer, especially when you're doing blasts. You want to go even faster than the music normally is when you're doing blasts, so I can imagine there's a bit of a time shift going on when you actually do play to a click and you realize you're going about 20, 30 BPM faster than the song is supposed to go.
Oh yeah,
we had a song
faster than you think.
We had a song that didn't make the album, but we played it live for a year.
Yeah.
2 songs that didn't make the album. That it's just like it was before the writing process for Air, really, and they didn't make sense. And they're good songs, but no, maybe they'll come out one day. Anyways, the song 5. That's how we did this.
Official title.
Official title was like 10 billion BPMs faster live than it ever should have been. And Matt basically just counted it off, and we were just flying into space halfway through the song. It was unbelievable. But and that's he has really good time, but it was just too fast and steadily fast.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've been playing for 19 years, but when I hit the stage, no matter how much I've learned over those 19 years, I will always play faster than the song is supposed to go.
Oh yeah. Even if it's 90 beats per minute, it finds its way up to 112.
The adrenaline, man.
Exactly. It's the live experience, playing in front of a crowd that's there to see you, or winning over a new crowd that may not even be familiar with you, and you want to show them everything that you got. And that adrenaline obviously makes everything faster. And how fast you can play.
Yeah.
So going back into the album a little bit, the album Air is out now through Blood Music, which is an incredible label to be a part of, who has done reissues and has signed some amazing bands. How did you guys get in contact with Blood Music?
So they, about halfway through the writing process, they shot us an email, or Jay did, just him. He shot us an email just like interested in what we were doing. He was a fan of Stargazer, and we shot him an email back, and we were like, hey, it's great talking to you. Here's what we're working on. And he got back to us like, no, I think this is too poppy for my audience. I don't know if this is going to fit, because he's putting out like rock metal, and I don't even think Perturbator was signed yet. So it was just basically his reissues and that stuff, like if I, whatever I believe, I think. And then, so he wasn't interested, and that was fine, with us. We were just like, if this is too poppy, then, we're just going to keep doing what we're doing and finish the record. And we just kept plugging away, and a year later, he just checked back in, and he was just like, hey, how's that record going? Is it almost done? And we sent it to him. It really, struck something with him, where I think that he saw, the potential in it, and, what we actually stumbled upon. Because it was, the demos were rough, and, my vocals sucked. They're just demos. So when it got to the point where they were refined and the album was almost done, I think he saw the potential in it. And I'm glad he did, because that's what it was going to take. It wasn't going to be someone who was like, yeah, this is definitely going to be a thing, or people are definitely going to like it. It was a chance. He was taking a chance. And I think he saw something really good, really great in it, and believed in it like we did, which is exactly what we needed, someone to get behind the record.
Oh, that is fantastic to hear him come around to you guys as well, because I know Astronoid will not be for everybody. I know there will be some true black metal fans that think that you're trying to be black metal when you're just trying to be yourselves. And then there'll be ones that enjoy the clean vocals, but they'll hate the blast, they'll hate the tremolo picking, they'll find something to pick apart about it. And of course, just being the internet, just because you guys have some more success going on now, they're just going to hate you for that alone. But that's all the more important to be able to make the music that you want to make, that you can stand behind, because when you do that, it's so much more creatively better as a musician, and as you go on more, you'll be able to explore that much more territory by not letting yourself give into any negative feedback. Right.
If we settled or said, maybe we should add screams because it might do better, if we did anything like that, it would have been disingenuine in every aspect,
Oh yeah, very much so. And I always feel bad for those musicians too, because some of them just look at it as just a paycheck, playing the music that they know is going to make them a lot of money rather than being creatively happy. Whereas I would rather be able to be creatively happy and push it as much as I can, and maybe even create a new style that might be able to take off and get to that next level.
Right. I don't feel like that you can get anywhere doing what's popular. And if you do, you can only go so far.
I feel like people have a way of feeling something that's disingenuine and not connecting with it. It's pretty obvious when somebody's throwing it in,
Yeah, it's really obvious when someone's trying to just make something that this is what's expected of me, or this is what I know will do well. There's so much of that's out there, especially in really popular music, that it's really refreshing when you see any band that's like, wow, they took a chance, and whether or not they falter or they execute it perfectly, it's really refreshing when you can actually feel that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I obviously I have a lot of respect for other people who take the same kind of risk and just follow what they want to do,
And that's why I'm appreciating what you guys are doing so much, taking all of these different styles of music that I love, and at least so far, making an album and 2 EPs worth of music that I thoroughly enjoy. And I, of course, hoping in the future just getting bigger and better and more recognition from it from here on out.
I hope that's the path, and and at least to me, and I know the other guys in the band, the most important thing to us is just make ourselves better. And if success comes with that, that's great. But if as long as we keep writing and we keep bettering ourselves as musicians, writers, then we're doing what we want and what we love to do.
So when it comes to a debut album, I know it's true of pretty much every band. By the time that they actually get their debut album out, they're sick of the music that's on the debut. Has that happened to you guys yet?
Kind of. What's different, though, is we've never played the songs live. So we've been sitting on these songs for 3 years, or 2.5 years, whatever the heck, but we've never played them live. So I've never been so excited to play songs live. And so on that aspect...
And actually, it's been a while since we finished the album to when it actually came out, so I haven't listened to it in a while. So I put it on recently, and like I was very much enjoying it again.
See, I was listening to it because I'm scared. Yeah.
You haven't?
Matt?
What? Oh, no,
I said. Go ahead, Matt.
I've been listening to it. Like, I drove my wife's car the other day, and she had it in the CD player, and immediately I was like, really? Really? But then I couldn't turn it off. I'm like, wow.
Yeah,
You know, like, Brett and Dan did an amazing job with recording it, and that is one awesome piece of it. But then, regardless of the fact that, you know, it's my band or our band, regardless of that fact, I actually enjoy it. It's still solid. It's not. Maybe it comes from not having played it live yet, but you know, Brett's right. We had that break from mixing and listening to the mixes and listening to masters. We had that break that I think it helped keep us with that whole perspective of like, okay, this is still good, you know. But at the same time, it's still new. But at the same time, we're like, all right, need new ideas. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
So, is there any plans anytime soon to start tracking the next album, or is that still too far in the future?
Yeah, I would say that's pretty far. I'm always writing, and I'm pretty sure Dan is as well. We've been sending a couple of songs back and forth, but they're mainly just to get ideas off our chest. We're not in writing mode and all that yet, but you know, I would think that's going to be in a little while because I would really like to refine our live show, and I also want to get better at guitar before the next record. I want to practice, and I want to be able to do stuff that I've never been able to do before, because I'm originally a drummer who taught myself how to play guitar, and I'm just really trying to get better, and I want the next album to really I want to push a little harder than I've been able to play before. I want to push myself.
So when you say that, and I guess that could be applied to the rest of you guys as well, what would you say is one thing or a few things that you want to be able to work on for the next album as far as you're playing?
Well, I know that not as much in terms of my playing, but I know for the next record I want to experiment more with some, you know, longer forms, longer songs, and some different more progressive ideas, I guess. But I don't know, it's still too early, I guess. But
Yeah.
I definitely want to set the bar higher for myself in terms of songwriting and composition as well.
I just want to be more in control of my instrument. Like when I sit on the kit, I feel very comfortable, and I went to college for playing drums, and I want to feel that comfort that I do on drums. And I feel like I'm doing pretty good, but I can always do better, and I just want to push myself in terms of like the riff and also like some solos, and you know, just kind of take different paths to ideas that I may not necessarily have got with air. And like Dan said, I could see the next record being a little more on this, like a little more progressive, and trying to push ourselves a little more.
Oh, very cool. So now getting into the live aspect of the band, is there anything lined up as far as shows yet?
We have one show right now. We are playing with Ghost Bath.
Oh, nice.
And we're opening that show in Boston at Great Scott with a couple other bands on that. And we're really pumped. They approached us, and we were really excited because we're starting to get in the live mode, but we're not quite ready, and we wanted to make sure when we did, it was the right time. And September is perfect, so that show September 13th in Boston,
13th,
and which is great because that's our hometown. So it'll be really nice to play our first show coming off of our first album, in our hometown.
Yeah, I mean that is incredible, and of course, with Ghost Bath, who just unbelievably exploded and is now on Nuclear Blast with their second album. I mean, that's very cool to be able to open that show as well, and being able to see like this new form of heavier music that also explores the different atmospheric, post-rock, progressive kind of stuff. And you guys mixed with Ghost Bath, that's going to be an incredible show in September.
I'm really excited. That album's awesome. And I've been seeing their stuff everywhere. Like that album cover, I've just been seeing everywhere. And when they approached us, I was like, that's like a pretty perfect lineup because they're pushing that other aspect of the heavier stuff, and we're taking more of the lighter aspect, and I can see how those two will blend together.
Especially with the other bands that are playing, it's going to be a really good, that show is going to be really awesome. Yeah. You're exactly right. It's going to blend and flow really well. I think overall they did a really good job of putting the tour together, and some of the local support they've been doing has been really spot on. Instead of just, oh, this band's from this town, let's throw them on. They're really taking care to make sure that it's an interesting show, and there's a lot of overlap with different kinds of sounds, I guess, that are going to complement each other nicely from band to band.
And it's Numenorian and Frosthelm that's playing with us. So.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, I mean, if I lived closer to Boston, I would absolutely try to make it to that show. Unfortunately, I live in Minnesota, so I know that'll be a little bit harder for me to make it out, but if you guys ever get the momentum to be able to do any touring that hits the Midwest, I would definitely love to see you guys live.
I would love to do that. That's on the list. Want to get out there. Want to get everywhere.
Awesome. So, of course, you guys mentioned Ghostbath and how well they're doing with their incredible new album that actually came out last year, but now got re-released through Nuclear Blast. Is there any new music that you guys are checking out?
Like that we've been listening to?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I feel like there's something that I just did. You go first. I got to think. Something that I just...
GOJIRA?
Okay, go ahead. Oh, damn it. That record's over.
Oh, man, that record. You were exactly right. I heard that first song, and I went, oh, I don't know. And then the rest of the record, and I went, oh, there's GOJIRA. Sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was talking with Rudy today, but, like, they hadn't hooked me yet, but I was new today, and yep, I'm sold. Magma. Great.
Yeah, and that's another album I can see this year being a very polarizing album because they have morphed into this different style band. And the core of GOJIRA sound will always be there, but since they stretch their territories, I know a lot of people have kind of fallen off the bandwagon, but for me, it's like I'm just as captivated as when I discovered From Mars to Sirius.
Oh, that is their best record.
That's the one that I found out about GOJIRA, too.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh my god, this band exists?
Yeah, I completely agree. I felt like if they did another album like the last one, they were going to lose me because it was too similar. They were going down the same path, and they needed to throw something else in the gear to, like, rope me back in. And I really felt like they took a step back and just, like, kind of explored more simple things. There's a lot more space on the album in terms of guitar parts, vocals, and they really let the album breathe a little bit more than the last one. And the last one really grew on me. I didn't love it at first, but it grew on me. But I'm really digging this the new album, and I just can't stop listening to it.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, too, about being able to play simpler, because a lot of people seem to forget that heaviness does not mean how many notes you can fit into a riff, or how many time signatures, or how low the tuning is. It can be something that's just simple and crushes, and it doesn't need to be this technical, over-the-top stuff like GOJIRA sometimes can do. There's just as heavy riffs, if not the heaviest riffs they've ever done on Magma.
Oh, is it the one that comes in, like, right at the end of one of the songs? I forget what it is, but it sounds like another song is going to start.
Yeah.
And, oh, man, I gotta look it up. Go ahead, you can talk about something else. I gotta find this because it's driving me. It's the end of Pray.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
I think it's the end of Pray. Man, when that came on, I was at work yesterday and I was there listening to the album, and then it like slowly creeps up and then it just kicks you right in the ass. And it's awesome. It's one note, and he does those triplets on, like the 16th note triplets on his kick, and it's just so sick. So yeah, all right, I'm done. I got really excited about it.
Well, GOJIRA is one of those bands to get excited about.
Yeah, when I first heard them, I've never heard a heavier band, and like it feels like there's like a weight on. Like when I first heard From Mars to Sirius, is it Ocean Planet? Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just the heaviest, like physical weight of that band is on me. Just about, maybe. And flying whales are pretty heavy too, but they can fly.
What propulsion system are they using?
It's funny about GOJIRA. A lot of people are complaining that there's clean vocals on Magma, but they seem to have forgotten that global warming has predominantly clean vocals on the song. It's the last song on From Mars to Sirius.
No, they're singing all over.
Yeah.
From Mars to Sirius. And they're singing all over the one after it that I'm blanking on. The Way of All Flesh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but this one starts it. That's why. You can't start an album with singing.
Yeah, it's all hard to say.
But no, I don't know. Maybe it's not for some people. I really love the record. I'm pumped about it.
Indeed. Well, guys, once again, thank you for taking the time to do this interview. It's been a tremendous honor to be able to discover you guys and be so open to do an interview with me for my 201st interview that I've done in the 5 years of doing interviews. So once again, thank you for taking the time to be able to talk about the brand new album Air, which is available now through Blood Music. Before we're done, is there anything else you'd like to mention that I haven't brought up yet?
I don't know. You guys?
I don't have anything. Brett?
I'm good.
You good? I don't think so. Just come to the show and listen to the album.
And feel free to plug that show again.
That is
September
13th with Ghost opening up the their headline, and that'll be at Great Scott in Boston on September 13th.